Hey everyone, it's Nora here from Nora's Ark, and welcome to May in Wisconsin. So it's a little bit chilly out today, but that's okay. Just had to get some more layers on because there's work to be done. So what are we talking about today? We are talking about 5 simple steps that you can do to improve the soil in your garden. So step number 1 is get your soil tested. This is the first and the most important step because you can't improve what you don't know. So get your soil tested, because if you fertilize blindly, that can actually do more harm than good. We recommend getting your soil tested by a local university because that can be a lot more reliable than some of these online kits that you can buy. If you don't live near a local university, so where you could just drop off a soil test, then you can mail it in. So we live near the University of Wisconsin, Madison, so we took our soil there to get it tested. And you'll want to do this early or as soon as you can, because then you'll have more time to get to know your soil test and to gather the materials that you're going to need to improve your soil. Which brings us to step 2, which is figure out your fertilizer. We have our fertilizer hanging out here. And what I mean by figure out your fertilizer is your soil test is going to tell you how much of each nutrient you'll need. So for example, our garden needs nitrogen and potassium. So then we needed to figure out, okay, what kind of fertilizer do we want to add to our garden in order to add those nutrients? So for our nitrogen, we decided that we were going to use feather meal and blood meal. And the reason for that is because blood meal is fast releasing and feather meal is a slow releasing. So we're going to blend the two. That way we have a combination of fast and slow release. And then for potassium, we got this langbentonite, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is going to add our potassium to our garden. Once you figure out what exact fertilizer that you want to add, you're going to also need to figure out how much of it that you need. And what you want to do is figure out what's the space that you're trying to fertilize. So figure out that our garden is 1,000 square feet, for example. And then what you'll do after that is you're going to figure out what the NPK ratio is, and you can do an equation to figure out how much of that fertilizer that you need. So I'll include more information about that in the description, but that's what you'll do is you'll figure out what kind of fertilizer you want and then figure out how much of it that you need. Step 3, remove all of the weeds from your garden. And we brought out 2 of our favorite tools to show you that really help speed up this process. The first is the hula hoe. This thing is awesome. It just cuts the weeds right at the surface, and you can knock down a lot of weeds in a very small amount of time. We love this thing. We even got 2 of them, and we got 2 handheld ones because they're so awesome. The second tool, and I would argue probably the most multifunctional tool for your garden that you need to have, is the Hori Hori knife. This thing is awesome. There's so many different uses for it. You can use it for weeding, you can use it to cut twine, you can use it to cut open bags of dirt when you need them. It has a flat edge and a serrated edge, which really helps when you want to cut the roots of weeds. And then also you can use it just to cut out weeds when they're in hard to get spots and along the edge of your garden. So this is an awesome tool to use as well. And the reason that you want to remove all the weeds from your garden is because we're going to till next, and we don't want to till the weed seeds back into our garden. Step 4 is till your garden. We know there's a lot of debate about if tilling is good for your garden or not. There are no-till methods as well, but we live in an urban area, so we don't have enough space to be able to have the means to do a no-till method. We don't have enough compost, and we just don't have enough space to rotate our crops and whatnot. And honestly, we're not even at that level of gardening yet. We just started learning about no-till, so we hope to learn more about that in the future. But for now, we're tilling, and the reason that we till is because we want the soil to be easy to work with, and we want to have a fresh canvas to spread our fertilizer on. All right, step 5, our final step is to spread the fertilizer. And we're going to use this broadcast spreader that we have to spread it. That way we get a nice even spread. And as you can see, it's actually turning out to be a pretty nice day here. The sun's coming out, getting warm now that we're doing work, so we're shut in layers. But anyways, after we spread this all over the garden, then what we're going to do is we're going to till it again, so that way we can work the fertilizer into the top 3 inches of the soil. And then normally you would water it after, but lucky for us, it's going to rain in the next couple days, so Mother Nature is going to do that work for us. So there you have it. There's 5 simple steps that you can take to improve the soil for your garden. One other topic that I wanted to mention with all this is the timing. So it is May 6th here in Wisconsin. We are in zone 5A here in southern Wisconsin. And we just added all that fertilizer, just did the tilling, prepared the garden. We will be planting our beets within a week or so. And then we'll be planting the rest of our seedlings that we have out here around Memorial Day. So about May 31st for those of you that aren't in the United States. That's when we'll plant the rest of our plants. And if you are curious about what other plants we're planting, you can watch our last video. Also, if you want to go more in depth on all the stuff that we covered today, I will include a link in the description of a blog post that just goes into a lot more detail about all of this. But all in all, we're really excited because that was a lot of work, and we're just really happy to have the garden prepared, and then so that way we can put all these beautiful seedlings in there in a little bit.